What's going on, guys and gals? Mopar Man here. Just got off of work. Wanted to show you part 3, and this there's going to be 4 parts. So this is part 3 of after I got the wiper assembly back installed and got all them new seals and gaskets fixed and everything. We had a rain the other day before it got real cold. A good heavy downpour came out to the car, and I found another small pool of water that had ran down from the underside of the dash over on the driver's side and on the passenger side of the floor. And so what I did was got it all cleaned up and wiped down, and I went ahead and filled up a 5-gallon water jug, simulated another like torrential downpour or whatever you want to call it, and looked and shined a light under there and tried to find out where the water's coming from. And it was actually coming from the big 6-inch hole that's in there from the factory, where the fresh air comes into the vent box and on the heater box. But if you look up inside there, there's actually a inch and a half collar. So when the rain and whatever else comes down through the vent on the cowl vent, it runs down off an angle on both sides, and there's a little drain hole, a little rectangular drain hole between that and the cowl that drains out behind the front fenders. Well, on further inspection, I have a little snake camera. On the back side of that collar, all the way around, there was stuff, I guess, from a pack rat or a mouse. Like a couple mice made a couple nests on each side of that. Wind's picking up. Anyway. And what it was doing, it was blocking off the water from exiting properly and causing it to overflow over that collar and drip down on the floor when it rained real heavy, because the water was backing up, and then when the water would come in on that and splash, it was just kind of trickling over the sides and collecting on the floor. So anyway, I had to get up in there the other day before it got cold. Hold on a minute, I'll show you. Okay, so basically I've got a lot of excess scrap metal and rod and stuff I've bought over the years in my collection laying around. So what I had to do is bend about a 2.5-inch long bend in this, a little hook per se, and then down over here I'll put the light on. I don't know if you could see it or not. Maybe not. Yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to see it, but right there, there's a good inch or 2 inches worth of gap. And this is where water enters here, and it's angled down at an angle and comes and the water flows down this way, and then down the opposite direction, kind of an arch in there. Comes down, collects, runs down here, and that collar, that hole is somewhere up in here with that collar that comes up, like I was telling you about, however tall that was, inch and a half. Well, what has happened, all this was backed up in here from that rat's nest around that vent hole, and with the water and everything, it was compacted in there, and what it was doing, basically backing up. And when I started getting in here and doing yeah, there's a better shot right there, getting in there and moving back and forth, all of a sudden that water just started gushing out of there, and I had to back flush each side a few times, and then I had to get up underneath the dash and put my hand up in there and up over the top of that collar and use my fingers and feel around in there, and I still found some chunks and stuff collecting around there, so I had to get this up in there and scrape around that and move the stuff out around and then right here, it between that collar and the sheet metal here, it only gets about, oh, I don't know, less than 5/16 of an inch wide gap. So that's why this rod came in there, and I've scraped that stuff out of there. Then I had to reflush the area out again, and then come back in here again and scrape all that and get it loosened up, and then pour another 5 gallons down through there and flush it all out. Make sure I got water all the way up around in here, and did that on both sides. Now both sides is free and clear. After I wiped the floor back down, wiped all the water, excess water up and stuff, and dried it out, came back in with another 5 gallons and just poured it directly in the middle to equal both sides, and watched it all the water come out, and nothing else came out. So now that is all clear. So if you get a chance, if a project vehicle's been sitting a while, make sure you check this cavity in here on the back side of this sheet metal for stuff that's built up around there from a pack rat or mouse, or just stuff that's naturally collected down in there from trees and the wind and whatever else that might have fell down in there. Or maybe some kids decide to put stuff down in there, and it comes, once it rains, it comes in here and starts collecting. And anyway, you get the idea. So, but yeah, anyway, and you watch that part 2 and you can see what I'm talking about that. I think it's like a 6-inch wide hole with that collar that sticks up like this far. So what I did was, after I poured that water back in there, as I was pouring it in real quick, I ran around with the flashlight and looked, and no more water dripping down the firewall or the inner panel here behind the kick panel and down onto the floor. So that's all been taken care of. And stay tuned for another video, because in the next video I will be covering a really low budget way to sound in and reflect heat coming off the floor and the firewall and the roof and all that stuff. I come across some material at our local Home Depot that a guy posted on one of the A-body groups on Facebook. So I can't take the credit. I just want to I'll mention his name and give him the credit and what group he belongs to, because he's working on an A-body Mopar like this too from the mid-60s. And he used a total of 5 rolls, and it's a 4-inch by 25 feet long roll of stuff that he used, and it's for like using around flashing and the roof and stuff, but it's got the aluminum on the back side of it, and it's half of what you would pay for stuff from out of the speed catalogs and whatnot. But I'll do that video before too long. So hopefully you got something out of this video to help you on your Mopars concerning trash buildup in the underneath the cowl in here where the water drains out. Anyway, till next time.